So, welcome to Pera Pera, a podcast hosted by me, Qays, and joining me are my co-hosts Pabs and Ben, and we discuss any kind of anime stuff going on at the moment and other aspects of geek culture that we think about. So, hi guys, how have you been?
Hello there. I'm doing okay. I'm quite knackered because I've moved into my new place, as I talked about in the last couple of episodes. It's finally happened. I've watched a bit of anime here and there, so I have some stuff, some juicy-ish stuff to talk about. But otherwise, yeah, I'm good. I'm knackered, but I'm feeling fulfilled. I now have some walls and a roof that belongs to me and me alone.
Nice. And for me, I've been a little bit tired for unrelated reasons I'm not gonna talk about. But yeah, the week has been great. I started watching Jojo, which I actually have reasons to see, like, okay, now I know the memes, because before I used the memes without knowing where the memes were from.
Exactly.
Instead of part one, though, right? Does part one even have any good memes apart from "It was me, Dio"? That's just the best meme from part one, I think.
You also have a Speedwagon, which is a useless character so far, so...
I love Speedwagon. You leave him alone.
Yeah, you call him useless. Get out right now.
I say, so far, I only watched 7 episodes of Jojo, so I cannot tell if he's gonna be a more reliable character through the story, but not gonna lie, I'm not caring much about what is going on. I'm like, memes.
Inject me full of more memes.
Speedwagon, I think Speedwagon actually does get more useless as time goes on. But what I love about Speedwagon is contextually he's the first character to actually look at Jonathan Joestar and go, oh, this guy isn't a bad dude. He actually cares and is an honorable human being. Whereas, every other bit leading up to that point is Dio framing Jonathan to make him look like an arsehat. So, yeah, I don't know. I like those kinds of characters who are just, camaraderie. They give you a hug, but on the inside. So, it's great, okay?
A hug on the inside, Ben.
Yeah.
Ben, can you explain us what the fuck is that? And
what? A hug from on the inside? It's like you don't need to hug, but you look someone in the eyes and you smile in a completely not homoerotic way, so as to suggest that I'm hugging you, but physically I'm not. And then the other person looks you in the eyes and smiles back as if to say, I'm receiving that hug.
Ben,
and I am returning that hug.
Ben, is Jojo probably is gonna be homosexual even if they are not literally hugging, so...
But that's my point! That's my point. It is and it isn't. And that is exactly why Speedwagon is a relevant character in the JoJo universe. He sets up the brotherhood that is also kind of confusing and makes you question your sexuality a little bit. It's the beginning of it. It's the seed. It's been planted.
Well, as you could say, he's the first brojo.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I'm not gonna question my sexuality. I already messed up that. And I am a little bit disappointed because I know until part 3 there is not any stance, so I wanna cry until that happens.
Some good stuff. I mean, the second season has a lot of historical references. I think you would like.
Like our German technology, how it's called? German superior technology.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I see them. It's like, oof. I don't know how this went to the West.
You'll find out soon enough. But I think you'll like Joseph as well.
I think I haven't found it yet because right now I only know Jojo, which is Joestar, I think.
Jonathan, I think.
Jonathan, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speedwagon. How it's called? Zeppelin. It's called which is like, you were my favorite character and you already died. What the fuck is going on? The kid of the town, which I guess he's gonna be relevant in the future. I don't know.
Which kid? I think that gives it away.
they go to a town with Dio is killing the people on that town, and they fight against these two knights are controlled by Dio. This basically when the kid is controlled by Dio and they went to a trap, but the kid only was controlled, he wasn't dead. And basically the kid saved Jonathan because he allows to Zeppelin a speedwagon to get into the room Jojo was fighting.
Okay.
Gosh, I don't recall that far back, actually, I have to admit. I recall Zeppelin because he is who he is and we love him, but...
Do you remember when he died?
I remember that he died. I don't remember...
In that scene, it's like a fortress, and the only way to open the door of the door... open the door of the door? English 101! The kid can get in from a window and pull the how it's called, the door open from inside. So that kid, I don't know, he doesn't have a name, is from the village. Probably he dies in the next episode. I haven't watched yet. Who knows? Who cares? Qays, how is your week been so far?
If he was in the credits, he would be credited as a stupid kid.
Stupid kid.
So how?
But yeah.
Keep going, Jojo.
Even your week been, Qays?
Me, pretty chill. So I've been watching Mushishi recently.
Nice.
And actually, I've got a dilemma I want to bring up with you guys because I really, really love Mushishi. If anyone hasn't watched it, it's basically about a traveling, kind of a traveler in kind of like quite like not ancient Japan, but kind of like I would say feudal Japan, where there's not exactly much technology or anything like that, and there's a lot of farming and agriculture. And he travels from kind of town to town, and he can see these kind of supernatural kind of animals. I won't go into more detail. Like it does it much better in the show, but called Mushi, which you can't see, or normal people can't see, but occasionally people can. People have the ability to see them. And there's these strange kind of mystical animals which affect the world in various ways. And he's a Mushishi because the she makes him kind of like a studier or like a professor or something like that of these Mushi. And he goes from town to town and solves these problems. And it's really kind of chill. Each episode is like a 20-minute episode, which is like a perfectly packaged episode with like a proper moral and like philosophical kind of like
got you.
That's brought up, and it just feels so complete. So I love it. I absolutely, really, really love it. It's a brilliant show, probably one of the best shows I watched. But I can't binge it at all. One show is enough for me. Like one episode is enough for me, and I just can't start the next one.
Okay,
which is good.
That's good. Yeah.
But then I'm like, and then someone told me about Domestic Girlfriend, and I was like, yeah, it's juicy. And I just watched 5 episodes in one go, and I'm just like, what is wrong? Am I just not a deep person? You know, Mushishi, like, I love it, right? But does it connect with me? No, it doesn't connect with me as much as Domestic Girlfriend.
Whoa, okay.
Wow.
Okay, I see where you're coming from now.
I know the person who recommended you this, and he's gonna be in pain if he listens this.
Okay, it wasn't a recommendation per se.
But he didn't want to recommend you that anime. He wanted to recommend you something else, man.
Sorry if you're watching. You know who you are.
He certainly does know who he is too.
Definitely.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Like, do you think bingeability is a good measure of how much you like a show? Because like from Mushishi and Domestic Girlfriend, there's no question in my mind. I prefer Mushishi. It is a better show, like in my opinion, like quality wise and everything like that. But I could binge Domestic Girlfriend much more easily.
My immediate response is that bingeability is in no way an indicator of wait, what was your question? Repeat that again, Qays, quickly, and then I'll have a response, I swear.
I mean, there's a few shows, like, I think, like, bingeability is somewhat correlated to how you enjoy it. but it's not the whole story, right? But what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like bingeability on itself is a method of consumption. It's not an indicator of the quality of the product. So there are some things. I mean, obviously, bingeability did not exist until Netflix became as prevalent as it did. You know, I mean, you have box sets, I guess, and you could attack those TV series as box sets. But when those TV series prior to being box sets were serialized TV series, the episode would come out once a week, or even, even less frequently than that. So I mean, it's hard to tell with anime, because anime now has only recently entered the arena of designing its products to be bingeable. Otherwise it's always been serialized, much like everything else has been, each week or something. So I mean, even like Shaman King is on, Japanese Netflix and etc., but that's still going a 1 week at a time. So yeah, it's only recently they're doing bingeable. But the way you've described these two series, it is interesting that one you find really easy to binge. So that's less about the design pattern of being of a product being made to be binged. So that's what's interesting. And I don't think it says anything about, well, maybe it does say something about you, but not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. It's certainly not a taste thing. I feel like there's some series that, I mean, it's kind of like comic books. Comic books are a very good analog for this, I think, because you have Marvel comic books, right? Or Marvel or DC comic books, Cape comics, as a lot of fans would call them, which are very serialized. You have like single issues of 20 pages each. And in fact, a lot of people, including myself, don't even bother collecting these single issues anymore. We just go for the trade paperbacks, which are like 6 issues in one. They're more affordable, they're better quality so that they'll actually survive being on your shelf instead of just being floppy pieces of paper. And you get that and you consume it a lot quicker than you would singular issues. But then you have graphic novels that stand up next to them. And the content of each comic, like there could be a very good DC comic, like for example Swamp Thing, which was originally a DC serial, versus another Cape comic which is a lot more lowbrow. I'm kind of going way off that tangent, I guess, with this sort of thing. So I'm going to stop soon, very soon, I swear. But
Perfect. Keep it up.
Just to tell you, Qays, that you don't have to fret. I don't think you're any less deep for consuming. For what's the other anime called? Something. What? Domestic Girlfriend. Yeah. Far off the deep end, and I forgot what we were actually talking about. Domestic Girlfriend. Yeah. I think Domestic Girlfriend is actually a lot easier to watch than something like Mushishi. Mushishi, I think I've not even seen it, but from what you've explained and from what I've heard of Mushishi demands a certain kind of attention, whereas Domestic Girlfriend I haven't seen that yet either, but judging by the title alone, has a sort of not soap opera, but there are soap opera qualities to it that to me make it very easy to jump to the next episode, because each episode does Mushishi's episodes, do they follow each other, or could they honestly be consumed as separate if you wanted to?
That's a good question, because Domestic Girlfriend, I would say, is very telenovela-esque. Every episode immediately, and
there you go.
You need to watch the next thing because it ups itself every time on what's going to happen next.
There you are.
There's a cliffhanger. But Mushishi is the exact opposite. Like you're kind of going towards. It's self-complete. Every episode is completely complete, to the extent that you could probably watch it completely out of order and not make any difference. Like there's slight things that is nice to know. You find out a bit more about the main character as the series goes along, but you really can watch it in any order, and it doesn't affect it.
Well, there you go. It's less. There you go. Say you get your safe case. It's less a case of deepness. It's like comparing against. I don't know, a decently sized meal versus a box of crackers. With Domestic Girlfriend, you have the box of crackers where it's not. It could be really good crackers, like very high quality crackers, but you're still going to eat. You're not going to eat just one, are you? You're going to follow it up with another. There are some foods out there which are just moreish. Whereas then there are foods that are designed to be eaten in one, and that's it. I mean, if you had two, you could have 2 hamburgers, but you'd probably feel awful afterwards. You know where I'm coming from? That's my 15-minute long dissection of exactly what you asked, and now I will be quiet for a very long time because I've taken up too much time here.
In summary, Mushishi is not very complex. It's more like you have to pay more attention on what is going on, and maybe you have to give a little bit of rest between episodes. Meanwhile, Domestic Girlfriend is like, okay, I need to keep nutting on this, so I just keep watching it.
See, Pabs, your level. I mean, let's go very quick, and then I'll be quiet again. Pabs, with your limited English, you've explained better everything that I just attempted to explain within the past 5-10 minutes. So never sell yourself short when it comes to your ability to speak English. Honestly,
Ben,
trust me.
Let me doubt it. Anyway.
Yeah. Honestly, good points, guys. Thank you very much. Another thing, I think it's not the complexity. I don't think with Mushishi. I think it is the complete. Like, yes, it's definitely much more complex than Domestic Girlfriend. Or Domestic Girlfriend has a lot going on. But the themes are 100% more complex. But it's more that because at the end of every episode, you feel like it's over. You feel like it's complete, and you know that feeling when you finish a show in general. And you don't, like, say you finish a show, maybe it's 9:00. So you've got time, you're chilling for the night, you've got time to watch another show. But you just don't feel like starting another show after you've completed one, you know?
Yeah.
You don't want to mix shows. Mushishi has that same feeling. You don't want to mix episodes because they're standalone things with their own messages. I think it's that kind of feeling.
Oh gosh, I just want to talk about food more in relation to
that. No, there's always... 3 AM is still fine.
It's like, what's the anime equivalent of a palate cleanser, like sorbet?
Oh yeah. So is that kind of like an anime that you could just watch at any time?
Yeah, like that buffers in between something hearty and then another anime. If you really wanted to, if you're like a gourmet who eats several meals after each other so as to be able to get a full experience.
I mean, this is kind of opposite and kind of on the money, but this is definitely not gourmet. But that's what Gintama is like for me. Because I know that I'm not going to finish all like 200 episodes in one sitting. It's just not going to happen. So it's kind of like my break between shows. So when I've finished a show and I don't know what to watch next, and I don't feel ready to watch a full-on new show, I gotta watch a few episodes of Gintama to keep me going. And that's
cool.
Kind of a palate cleanser, kind of like an in-between. But it's just, you don't need to watch it in order. It's always going to be funny. That kind of thing.
I get you.
It's like Shin-chan. You don't have to watch more than one episode, but it completes itself, so kind of stupid as well.
Oh, Shin-chan.
It was my childhood, so I just mention it.
Shin-chan is an excellent example.
Mr. Potato Head, which is basically his head. I don't know why, but for example, I hate Doraemon with all my soul because the message is so as is you can be useless and Cosmic Cat is gonna support you to get more bully for the rich kid and the tall fat one in your neighborhood. So no worries.
I know what you mean.
And in the end, if you cry enough, everything is gonna be solved. So what I was trying to say is like the films of Doraemon are really good because actually they try something different than in the show, because in the show it's like Doraemon gives something to Nobita because probably he's crying for some bullshit happen in the school because he's useless, and everything is getting better. Nobita abuses of the item he received and everything goes wrong, and he returned back to Doraemon crying because he fucked up everything. So guys, if you want to watch Doraemon, don't worry, I summary every episode just now.
Yeah, exactly. You've made a great case. I mean, that's exactly why I never need to watch Doraemon, because you've just given me all I ever need to watch about, ever need to know about Doraemon.
In the other hand, Shin-chan is like, yeah, it's a little bit piece of shit. But the difference is Shin-chan is 5 years old while Nobita is 11, I think. And he's just cocky. He's not like useless, you know?
Yeah, got you.
I mean, Shin-chan is more useful than Nobita and he's 6 years younger. So... Anyway. That I don't know why I brought up that, but I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
Something about Doraemon just sort of made you go, you know what? I just remembered I disliked Doraemon a lot.
Let's talk about how we hate Doraemon.
Fuck Doraemon.
No, Doraemon is cool. It's Nobita, the one is not cool.
Oh, okay.
It's true, yeah. It's like, is Nobita a protagonist? Because if he is, he's a bit of a shit one, really, isn't he?
Probably one of the worst.
He has no redeeming qualities at all.
Oh, and you know what annoys me? Because 1 year ago, I think, or a little bit less, they made a game of Doraemon.
Mm-hmm.
Which, do you know which games are Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, all that type of games? So basically, it's a Doraemon game about this. It's like, wait a second, what is Nobita? Is Nobita working? Are you fucking kidding me? That lazy piece of shit is working when I've never seen doing absolutely nothing in all the show, and it doesn't make sense. That person is working when in the actual show is the synonym of laziness. So.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's out of character.
So after I return to my childhood, anything else you do this week, Qays, or
not much really. Yeah, I can't think of anything. I watched Saint and Nissan actually.
Oh,
actually, a few of the guys. So this is the anime about Jesus and Buddha.
I know which one you mean. Yeah.
Going on holiday. They decide to visit Japan and just stay in a little apartment in Japan for a bit. It's kind of sweet.
Typical.
I need to look up episode 2.
Yeah, I preferred episode 2. I think it's all right. Like, there's a lot of references, and I don't think I got all of them because like there's about like Jesus and Buddha that maybe I just didn't know about Jesus and Buddha, and maybe it's also things. It's like they're Japanese interpretations of Jesus and Buddha.
Yes, yeah.
I knew about Buddha, so yeah. So definitely, I don't think I got all. But episode 2 was I preferred it. It was quite fun.
I was just going to say that what I like most about anime series like that, I mean, it's not even a series, it's 2 episodes, isn't it? But it's an anime couple of episodes, an OVA, if you will. I don't even know if it classes as that, but does it? Is it an OVA technically?
Yeah, it is.
I guess, when it's 2 episodes long, it kind of has to be, doesn't it? Things about like that are exactly why I love anime and why I keep coming back and will probably never let go, because there's always some idea or concept being explored. And I think it's the exact same reason why a lot of people do gravitate towards Japanese media, whether it be J-pop, whether it be manga, whether it be anime, whether it be TV shows, because they're never afraid to say no to something. Or well, I mean, maybe they are, but it seems like a lot of stuff gets greenlit that would have in the West otherwise stayed on the the cutting room floor or the crumpled pieces of paper in the ideas bin kind of thing. It's just, hey, what if Jesus and Buddha were buddies and were roommates and were trying to make ends meet and were scared of their landlord? And you know what? Boom, make it into a comic. Yes, sir. I'll pay to watch that, read that, whatever. So yeah, that's what I love most about series like that.
Yeah, the idea of guys is like, yeah, what if we did this? Like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's just it, isn't it? Let's just do it.
Probably some guy, some kind of people, mates, getting a bit drunk, just like have an idea, write it down. All right, we've got no other ideas. Next day, hungover. Guess we're doing this then.
Guess we're doing this then.
Yeah. Going back to the palate cleanser thing, actually, I have had another thought. I feel like slice of life shows are the
Yes.
perfect palate cleansers of anime.
Mhm.
You know, I haven't watched it, but like K-On! I don't know. It looks from the surface like a palate cleanser anime. Really sorry if this is your favorite show and you don't like me now, but it's like cute girls like drinking tea, right? That's what I hear about it. It's like,
So you've not seen K-On!
I haven't seen K-On! No.
Okay, neither have I properly.
Me neither, so we are fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
but this is
Yeah.
it. Are we fine?
Talk about it, and we know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, sure. We're super clued up on K-On! We know exactly what it's about.
But we have the seal of ignorance, so we don't give a fuck.
You said it.
I know what you mean, Qays. I feel like K-On! Could. I don't know. I'm always afraid. I'm potentially afraid. I am 100% of the time afraid. It's seen me well. So with K-On!, there's just such a huge, dedicated fan base that I'm not convinced that it's about girls drinking tea. I feel like there's a lot more going on under the surface. Taking Haikyuu as an example, those who have not seen Haikyuu assume it's just about volleyball, whereas those like you and me who have seen Haikyuu know it's more than just volleyball.
It's about life.
It is, and I feel like K-On! May be. I mean, I feel like if we got into K-On!, maybe we'd have a similar. I don't know. I can't guarantee, but I feel like we'd have a similar Haikyuu moment of K-On! Isn't just about girls in a band; it's about life. So I'm hesitant to call it a palate cleanser anime. While I think like I know exactly where you're coming from, I'm hesitant to concur with you.
There's only one way to find out. Always stream K-On!
Yeah, cool. Okay, guys, those who are listening to the podcast, you've got to know that this is the end of said podcast. We'll come back with another episode once we've consumed all of K-On! And we'll have an opinion to share.
I know it's a little bit late, but talking about religion, shall we talk about Princess Tutu?
Oh, I said I was going to watch some of that last night, and I didn't, but I'm still getting to hear more about Princess Tutu.
Oh, well, you come to the right
So,
place.
Qays,
boy.
our Messias, please go ahead and say us about this new religion.
So, okay, this started out as a joke, but it's not a joke.
Do you think so?
I'm talking to the guys, and I've watched this show, Princess Tutu. I've watched it ages ago. It's a really, really good show. I'm not joking. I just think I casually mentioned it. Oh, this is on the 3x3s. We were talking about Princess.
Yeah.
It's just but we've us three and some other mates of ours just talking about Princess Tutu, and they think I'm trying to joke and say it's not like I'm trying to like convince them to watch it when it's not a great show and stuff like that. Just give it a go. I'm not going to say any because I don't want anyone to have any expectations. That's what makes it.
Yes. Okay.
So,
What I can say is it's not a show for everyone. You know, people with good taste will like it.
Oh.
You can't guarantee, but
I mean, you are not the indicated person to talk about it because, I mean, Current Lagan.
Toradora.
I mean, I don't like it that much. I like it more than I used to when I rewatch it, but this.
I don't think I would like Toradora much these days, but I remember really enjoying it when I first watched it some 10 years ago.
It was so funny when one of the characters gave all her fucking money for these two to run away from their home. And this is not a joke, this happened.
God, it did, didn't it?
Yeah. Welcome to anime
that's
in the
real
early
love.
2010s.
Kids can be dumb.
This sounds like a good moment to segue into Toradora, actually. Shall we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pabs, you're the person who's recently consumed it. Give us your take on Toradora. Why it is probably the single best anime of the early 2010s.
So, Toradora could be a 10 out of 10 if you remove Taiga from the equation. But you cannot remove Taiga because if you remove Taiga, the anime won't happen. But
Yeah, all you'd end up with is an anime called Dora, and nobody wants to watch that.
Dora the Explorer.
Oh no! Why have you made a monster about this? Not gonna lie, I can see why people like it because they started with Taiga being a bitch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People disguise it as tsundere. She's not a tsundere. She's just angry.
It's true. It's a very good point.
For me, to begin with, I'm not very kind with the tsundere personality trait, which for me is like, I can understand why people like it, but since they're like, it's not my thing, and Taiga just take this concept and put all the tsunderes in anime in a so low level in comparison with her. And as Qays described, is like seasonal tsundere, she's just angry all the time. Can we?
Like good
One second, I say one more thing, and you can say whatever. In the first fucking episode, Taiga just hit into the main guy, which I already don't remember the name, and not gonna lie, don't care too much about it. She just punched him because he called him short, and also that in the same episode, in the end, he ran out into his house midnight to recover a letter for the person who she loves. I really understand. She literally.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I mean.
So she beat him up for doing a nice thing for her.
And he got.
Is that what I'm getting from this?
And he got into his house midnight.
Yeah.
To recover a letter she confused to put in the, how it's called, the place when you leave your shoes in the anime.
Oh, like a little cubby hole type thing.
So you know a typical anime thing where you leave like the letter and like, oh, I love you, or can we talk this day at this place to confess my love, because anime. And instead of putting the letter into the guy she likes, she put it on the main character one. But you know the plot twist of all this, apart of she got into his house midnight because that is fucking illegal, the letter, the envelope was empty. She forgot to put the letter inside.
That's comedy.
Yeah. 101 comedy.
Pabs is not impressed.
I want to hear Pabs, because you clearly really like Taiga Asaka a lot. I mean, she's definitely your favorite character. But I guess tell me about your second favorite characters. Are there any other characters in the show that you do like a lot, or that resonate with you, or that you feel like are well written? But tell me what you've taken from the show, because you've clearly said it would be a great show if it weren't for fucking Taiga. So what about it is great? Which of the characters really like say something to you? So
the personality of all the characters are unique, and it works in the show. So for example, Taiga, don't get me wrong, I hate the personality of Taiga and how she acts. But her personality works, but I think some actions should be different for everything work into a show. So for example, the main guy, sorry, I'm gonna describe the characters, I don't remember their names, but describing the character I think should be enough for people to get who I'm talking about. So the main guy, he's obsessed with cleaning and putting everything in order and taking care of people he cares about. So it's like the mother stereotype of a lot of years ago, like he takes care of the home and everything and takes cares about people around him. The pink hair girl, which is the crush of this guy.
Yeah.
She acts as stupid. She overworks a lot to earn money, but in reality, she's not that stupid, and you can see through the anime how she develops as a person. And my favorite character is the guy with the glasses, because at the beginning they present you this guy like so serious, he's the top of the class, and in reality he's just Mr. Jokes, and in some point he just take off his shirt and wears like Papa Noel clothes on him.
Yeah.
It's like,
wait, Papa Noel? Are we talking Father Christmas, Santa Claus?
yeah, I just say it in Spanish. I don't give a fuck anymore.
That's fine. I've never heard the term Papa Noel, but I just did some mental gymnastics and thought this is what perhaps means. It took me like three. I don't know. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Carry on.
I didn't want to try to meme for once, but okay. I even did it without trying. And there's another character which is another bitch, but in another different way, because Taiga is just the personality trait, like she's angry all the time. The actress, like the modeling actress in the anime, which is who is a childhood friend from the guy of the glasses.
Yeah.
She's an asshole, but knowing she's an asshole and acting to get the things she wants in the way she wants, and she doesn't care if she harm some people in the way to get what she wants. I hate her, but the personality trait is really well developed on her. It works, but in Taiga there's just so much things like you could just do it in some different way with her personality trait and still work, but you forced this to happen. I don't know. What do you think, Sky? Think about it, because I've been talking about how much I like Taiga for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. You've described the characters, but which of them is your favorite?
The guy with the glasses. Because he
is it because he strips?
Yes, but actually no.
A very good answer. I like it.
The only reason why I answer like that is because memes. The second thing is not because of that. It's because as I say, they present you like a so serious person, like he's one of the top in the class, but actually he's just a pig who just doesn't care about what is going on in general and just joking around, as we could see through the anime.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is still quite self-aware. He could tell from like the first episode that, or like the first few episodes, that Taiga and Ryuji are good together, and like he's even able to tell that like Ryuji's a good guy, even though everyone else is scared of his eyes and all that kind of stuff. He's a pretty
yeah.
You kind of respect those people who are self-aware, like him and Kawashimami, the model girl. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Don't get me wrong, when I say he is a dick, I mean dick in the good way of you know when you are a really good friend with someone, Qays, Ben, and you are just an asshole with them, but you really appreciate them. So basically that is the point of view I have for him. Like, I don't know how to describe it actually, but you know what I mean.
Take, I kind of get what you mean, but I feel like, and this might be a hot take, but I feel like you're judging how much you like the character by how much you like them as a person, if you know what I mean. Whereas I feel like with some kind of shows, and I feel like this one, it works, is that it doesn't matter if I personally like these characters. It's more like how they go for the show's whole dynamic.
And that
makes me like.
I see what you mean.
That's why.
There's liking a cat. Yeah.
That's why I don't like Taiga, because the personality could work, but they don't implement as good as they could be the acts of Taiga during the show.
Ooh, go into this.
So, as I said before, instead of punching him at the beginning, she could say something mean because she's angry all the time. You don't have to punch someone in the face because reasons. Also, a scene of when she gets at his home, I feel like it's a little bit forced. And more in the midnight, it's like, couldn't just like she go behind him and sneak while he opened the door or something like that, having the advantage of she's tiny, so I don't know.
But it's funny. It's just a show.
The more that Pabs talks about Taiga being like a less than spectacular character, the more I'm actually starting to agree with him. To be honest, like I had no inclinations or favoritisms or either way. I thought Taiga was a character, whatever. But the more I think about it, the more I go, actually, Taiga is a huge missed opportunity, to be honest. Because Toradora, the series, is built on the concept in that you have Ryuji and you have Taiga, a boy and a girl, who both like two completely different people. But the reason why they're friends, Taiga and Ryuji, in the beginning, or they join forces or band together, is because each of their best friends are the person that they want to get with. And that's actually a really interesting premise. But the problem with that, or the problem with the way the show or the manga is conducted, the problem that actually does make it not a 10 out of 10, is that it's still told from the perspective of Ryuji. And Taiga is, and if only if the series actually told the story from Taiga's perspective as much as it did Ryuji's, like maybe equal amounts of screen time or from their perspective, then it would be a mind-blowing story. It would be really good.
Agreed.
But yeah, because this is that is really bad, because Taiga is effectively like there's character that could be there, but there's less of it because this is anime, and Taiga's character and Minori's character and Ami's character are all potential. This is the head scratchy anime. I love you, but this isn't great for anime. They're all three female characters that are potential girlfriend material for Ryuji, which is where I sort of shake my head at anime, because it doesn't always have to be dating sim visual novel-esque, but then it was based off a visual novel, wasn't it? So not a visual novel, a light novel, so I can't really complain too much. But yes, the more we talk about it, the more I listen to you talk, the more I've only just come to this epiphany now where I go, Toradora isn't as great as I thought it was. It's pretty good, I enjoyed it, but thinking back, I know that if I watched it now, I'd see all these holes and go, damn, Taiga, why have you why have you let us down?
I don't think it's that, like you said, it's a missed opportunity. I think it'd be so much better if they had the point of view of Taiga and Ryuji, because then
equally
their thoughts, because from the start, it doesn't hide it and showing that they're the ones. This is spoiler alert, like heavy anyway, but they're the ones who end up together, and so
I mean, it is a spoiler.
It's a spoiler, but everyone knows from the first episode that it's gonna happen.
Exactly. It doesn't need to hide any of their kind of feelings, not feelings, because the whole idea is them coming to terms with their feelings.
Exactly.
But it should just show these are the two main characters. They're going to end up together. Let's see what both of their thoughts are.
Yeah.
That would be a lot more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're going to end up together. If they just have Ryuji's thoughts and then all the three girl characters are unknowns, so it could be any of them kind of thing. That's more harm kind of thing. Who is Ryuji going to end up with? But if it's Taiga, it's more about their relationship and how they develop. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, one of the things that I'm thinking about is that I think from the first show episode, there's a quote of like something to do with like there's something special with everyone, but like it's something small that you might not notice. and
that's cute.
kind of uncover it, like deserve to find it and stuff like that. And that's the idea of like I think Ryuji finding that special something within Taiga and stuff like that. I think of it more that way because Ryuji's kind of generally the outside. I think everyone just kind of likes him, but Taiga's a lot more like you have to really dig beneath the surface to find all the good aspects.
Yeah, that's very good.
And so not having her thoughts is actually a good way of kind of having you try to discover that as well, because if you could kind of like on her side, whereas if you don't see her thoughts, you are one of the people who will dismiss her at first, because for 99% of people she doesn't show her good, so you don't like her. It's only after the show that you actually do find out why she's a good person and come
Okay, thanks, Qays. I mean, I was having an epiphany moment, but you've turned it around to make me look like an asshole now, so great. Yes. But I see where you're coming from. I just wish I could, play the same game of mental chess as you. Meanwhile, I'm stuck on drafts with this sort of thing.
But I still agree with what you said. Having both of their voices would be better. But it's like different romances do different things.
It's true, very true.
But also, I think if the anime was focused from the point of view of Taiga instead of Ryuji, because I think the way the brains they work is the Taiga is a Formula One going at maximum speed all the time, thinking about what she has to do, and because she's thinking all the time about how she's gonna impress the person who loves and everything.
Definitely.
I guess she responds badly to what is going on, but I think the character of Ryuji will be so much boring from her point of view, because if you think about it, Ryuji is a very flat character in comparison with the rest of the cast. I mean, he has his personality traits, but we can know more about him because we are more from his point of view.
Yeah, he's the placeholder character that we occupy as the people watching, isn't he?
Yeah. But if we put the point of view from Taiga's perspective, it will put Taiga probably in a better position, but it may make the anime worse because the main character or the second main character is so boring in comparison with the main one,
That's true. Yeah.
Toradora is actually quite a good anime to discuss these sorts of things about, I guess, and that you have some clear protagonist, deuteragonist, side characters. Here's where they fit. Here's what they do. Here's how they, push the story along. It's actually quite a good anime series to study for the sake of understanding how these sorts of plots, especially romance plots, how these sort of romance plots can work and how they can go and how you can use it as a skeleton to frame your own anime series if you wanted to, I guess. Yeah. Some interesting things being brought up this episode. I'm enjoying it.
I think, because it's got a strong main cast. Like, each character is very well defined, distinctly different.
Yes.
But polarizing the case that they're all good characters in a way that all three of us have different opinions of which ones.
Yes.
Sure. Like, I really like Ami and Minorin.
Yeah, same.
I mean, okay, I guess that we're similar that way. I feel like we're opposite for everything anyway.
I like Ryuji a lot, to be fair. I mean, yeah, he's quite flat, but I like the idea of a character just being shunned because he effectively has resting bitch face.
Honestly, watching it, Ryuji was like, this guy's just a dependable guy. I want to be a bit more like... Got good cooking skills, he tidies, he's just dependable.
He's a house husband waiting to happen, which is my great dream, to be honest.
Yeah.
My dream is to have my wife come home and I'll be there wearing naught but an apron saying, "Oh, I've run your bath for you." And why did I say that? I don't even remember.
So basically Ben wants to be a husbando.
I want to be the one who goes, "Ara, ara." I want to be
Go to the horny jail.
Man, I've just escaped from horny jail. They can't. They think they can contain me. They don't know shit.
Meanwhile, it's been 60 years.
You're scratching it out on the wall. Been here too long now. I've run out of space to show how long I've been here.
Let me out! Let me out!
I was wrongfully imprisoned.
I am not wrong. They are wrong.
One day the law will change, Pabs, and you will be, you'll be set free, and an apology will be issued to the president.
I will join to the honey heaven.
Yeah.
Returning back to the Toradora.
Yeah, Toradora. More, please. More.
So, Taiga, despite that I say these things, the main worst thing happens from her perspective was in the first episode, but because I think it was kind of brutal. But actually she gets better eventually, of course, because there is a progression of character. And the only reason why Ryuji ends with Taiga is because Minorin.
Explain. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but explain.
Because Minorin is a really good friend of Taiga, which in some point Minorin says to Ryuji she may be lesbian, which I have a theory. I think she's not lesbian, she's bisexual, because I think she has feelings for Ryuji and Taiga, and
it could definitely be interpreted that way, definitely.
And I felt like they forced those feelings for Ryuji. They rush like in the second half of the anime about it, while at the beginning they don't even give you a hint of if he has any feelings or not. But in that perspective, Minorin is always with Taiga, she supports on everything.
Yeah.
And Minorin knows the real feelings from Taiga to Ryuji when in the end of the year or Christmas, I don't remember which day is, when she gets out crying and Minorin literally hears out what she was saying.
Yeah.
And despite if that didn't happen, probably Ryuji will end with Minorin, but because Minorin always prioritize everyone else.
Yeah.
That's what happened, and I believe that is a really good twist into the anime. But at the same time, it's like, Minorin, be a little bit more selfish, please, because Taiga has all the selfishness of this anime into one person.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
She should have been more like Ami. Ami is selfish.
Yes, it's true. Ami is a great kind of selfish as well, I think.
But I think I don't know how to put this, but how do you call it? Amy, you say?
Yeah.
Ami, sorry. She's selfish, but she's conscious of it.
Yeah.
Like if you put it on her face, like you're being selfish, like I always forget the name. The childhood friend of her.
Yeah.
Say to her, it's like she like pull back about it. And Taiga, you can say that into her face, but because she's not conscious about she's selfish, she doesn't care, and she just wants what she wants. She wants the toy, and the toy in this case is Ryuji, and she got him.
That's actually a really interesting way of gauging a character, I guess. I mean, I do like Annie quite a lot because it is obvious that she's she plays with people's feelings, and she's got this sort of mask on and she's aware of it. She's kind of hiding behind it. So like, yes, she's selfish and she's aware of it. So there's this kind of this fight internally for herself where she's either going to use that selfishness to her advantage, or she wants to pull away from using it because she knows that it will only make her a worse person for it. But then I wonder if other characters go through the same thing. Like, Minorin is basically the anime equivalent of Jesus Christ. Like, she'll do anything for everyone.
She will die for
she'll put
everyone.
herself up on the she basically, she put herself on the cross so that Ryuji and Taiga could bone, which is fine. Some friends do that, but not all friends do that. And the people who in real life do that, you kind of look at them and go, what is wrong with you? But is Minorin self-aware of her? I mean, I think she is. I think she's self-aware of just how nice she is, because she almost hates herself for it, because she's now missing out on getting together with Ryuji, who she would like to get together with. It's a complicated one.
It's a couple of. She is self-aware, but I think that's what all her clashes with Ami in the last part of the series are about. Like,
I don't recall.
Guilt over now kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think after she sees the picture of, like, which I think Minorin has of Ryuji and stuff like that, and then kind of like making Minorin think about her stuff a bit more. And I think in the kind of ski trip, they have like a little clash as well. Actually, a fair clash. Over kind of like making Minorin kind of like come to terms with all of this stuff, because I think Minorin is self-aware, but is kind of in denial of like her feelings or like her responsibilities to herself, kind of thing. Ami's learned the hard way of like she needs to prioritize herself. I think with the stalker and stuff, it's like she just like keep moving away and distancing herself and putting things off and not confronting things. That kind of idea, and then like she just stands up for herself, kind of thing, and then becomes selfish, but in like a pretty immature way, I think, of selfish. Because like you should be selfish to some extent, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think she's trying to push Minorin to like, you like Ryuji, you like him. Why haven't you? You're aware of this, but you haven't come to terms with this.
Yeah.
Kind of... Yeah. I mean, because I think all of the characters have like a lot of progression. I think, like Pabs said, through it.
It's true. Yeah, I think so too. I feel like
you try to learn vicariously through them.
Oh, when Ami say to him like, "Will you give me another opportunity?" Like, she's a bitch, but give her an opportunity, please.
When was this?
That happened. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but when I think it was when Ryuji got refused by Minorin. Ami go to him and talk about, I don't remember about it, I think, and it's like, will you give me another opportunity? But I think she said in a way like it wasn't serious about it, but for the expressions she did, like she was actually serious about it.
Is this in the kind of shed after the Christmassy episode? Where
I think so.
The party. Then I think afterwards, Ryuji's talk with Ami towards the end. I think when they're putting all the stuff away.
Yeah.
Is it?
I believe, I don't recall exactly when it happens, but I know for sure it happens.
So what we were talking about before within the Christmas episode was, I think, Ami and Ryuji going to a side kind of cupboard to like talk about certain things, and we didn't really have many Ami and Ryuji moments, which I'd definitely like more of. Yeah, and then I think we were talking about the song, the Christmas song. Yeah. Okay. You guys ready?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
So another thing I was thinking about with Toradora, another quote that stands out for me, I think it was Minorin said something like, "Adoration never leads to a balanced relationship." Yeah, that was one thing that like stuck out for me, because one thing with Toradora is because it's more meant for teenagers with all the love stuff. So I feel like watching it kind of as an adult, there weren't a lot of the lessons that I needed to learn from it. Like I think as a teenager, you're probably, a lot of these things are new or like relevant to you, and so I didn't really need to
that's a fair point.
Learn it. But like adoration never leads to balanced relationship. Not to say that I needed to learn it, but like there's an interesting thing that I never really thought of too much with, like when you go too much for an infatuation, too much for a crush. And it was just a kind of interesting thing to toy with. What did you guys think?
That's interesting. I mean, because you mentioned the word infatuation, and that was the word I was going to bring up. So I don't know. I didn't watch Toradora in my teens personally. I watched it in my very early 20s. So I was 20, I guess, maybe 21 when I was watching Toradora. And I mean, I've always been a bit of a late bloomer anyway. I feel like I'm always 5 years behind in where I should be in the norm, in the average, I suppose, how people grow up and handle things. Who knows? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm not. But I took that lesson quite quickly, and as in when they were talking about that, it wasn't something I had already discovered. But it wasn't something formative, but it was something I agreed with 100% when it was quoted, and all throughout, which is the two main characters having crushes on these two other characters based on not much else really other than the infatuation that they have. So yeah, it was a lesson that I took pretty quick. It was a lesson I went, yep, that makes a lot of sense, and it's the kind of lesson I remember imparting to a couple of my, like I'm some sort of Jesus figure to my apostles. No, that's rude. What I'm trying to say is I would have friends who would be very easily led on by their crushes, and I'd be there sort of going, dude, just rein it in a little bit. It's, I mean, you could go for it, but don't let it, I don't know, be, and that's what happens to these characters. Don't let it control your life, or don't let it dictate the next steps that you're going to do, because so yeah, no, I agree with you. It's a really interesting lesson, and one I think that needs to be imparted more in a lot of other series that are romance focused. It doesn't have to be the focus of that show. With Toradora, it clearly is a big part of it, but it could be easily a side story or a side plot, if you know what I mean, and a lot of people could take away from that a good thing.
Definitely. I feel like the actual message of you shouldn't get too infatuated, don't let your like crush of like lead you to do things that you wouldn't do anyway, is like a big message, but like still like a clear one, which I think a lot of people would have thought about. But like the interesting balance is like, so what balance do you get with it, right? Like how much should you be infatuated with a crush? Because sometimes it's a fun experience, right?
Yeah.
Like so you want to be in love with the person you're in love with, like that's kind of how it is. But how much should you be, and like where should you stop with that? Where's the kind of where do you draw the line? That's a tough one, because I think like Toradora is definitely on the kind of like the accumulated kind of experiences and everyday kind of love more than the infatuation, because like the whole idea is that from the start Yuji and Tiger are getting together, right?
Yeah.
But they don't know it until the right at the end, and it's saying that the accumulation of all the time they spent together is much more important than any of the crushes, like whimsical crushes they had at the start.
Yeah,
and all those things, it's like you don't recognize what it is, and like it's a little thing that you don't recognize, but when you do, you like some people can like get it, or like the UFO comment where you don't know what it is until you've seen it. But it's like all ties into this kind of like idea of the true love is there, you just have to realize it, and it's something accumulated.
Yeah, I feel it.
And
it's a tough balance.
And let's be honest, if you are in that date and you want a relationship, or even if you manage to get a relationship, it won't last long. I'm sorry to say that, but that's normally what happens around the late teens, early 20s. Normally, you won't be for so long with that person, because we are not just ready to stay forever with one person at that time, I believe.
Yeah, and this really ties into what I'm thinking about with Kitamura and the president of the student council. It's like you shouldn't let the relationship might not last, you're still very young, kind of thing. Don't change your whole life for someone you don't really know and you just have a crush on, you have an infatuation for. Like he was like, okay, you're moving to America, I'm gonna want to be with you, I want to move to America as well, and all that kind of stuff like that. He went crazy with it, and like they're saying, don't do that, chill, you're still young. Actually learn to love someone through actually all your like actual proper interactions and properly love someone.
I have a controversial counter argument to that, actually. In that, but maybe not. Maybe it isn't. I'm just going to say that you mentioned, Kitamura's obsession with the student council president. I mean, let's be real here. In anime, consistently, the student council president is like top tier 10 out of 10 waifu/husband material. So you're talking about, okay, measuring the crush, how much weight is allocated to this feeling? Is it legit? Is it something I shouldn't pursue? I say, if it is the student council president, you're allowed to err on the side of risking it. Usually, I mean, if I'm remembering the student council president character from Toradora, I'd have gone, yep, I see it. I'd probably, cut open my stomach and let my guts fall out for this person. Just saying, because
But it's
I could
all
see-
in.
I'm all in, exactly. All in. If I'm
All
a
or
poor
nothing
man
for Stuart
afterwards,
Kids for president.
exactly. That's just me. For other people, sure, you weigh the pros and cons, you do the math, you work through the equations on the chalkboard, and you come to a conclusion. Student council president, fuck that shit. Just maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong, but I'm just saying there's not been a student council president I've disliked yet. Maybe it's the severity. Maybe it's that I want to get stomped on. I feel like I'm going too far.
You're not going far enough.
I'm not going far enough. Okay then.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be watching a bit of Kaguya-sama, like a bit of going.
There you go. You
Yeah.
see, I mean, case in point.
You're right.
See,
Yeah.
anime is sending out the wrong messages, or are they the right ones? Anime is fun when you can go in, clean, having never watched anime and going, what is this? Why are these people making these decisions? And then you're 5 years into watching anime and you go, I know exactly why they're making this decision. I would do the same thing, Your brain gets drowned.
Despite the difference of culture, even if I think I was Japanese, I live in the society, I will never do any of the stuff they do in animes. For
Like
example,
what? Yeah.
let's put the letter in the Sus place, because I cannot say it out loud, my feelings. That never happens in real life, even in Japan.
Oh, you wouldn't write a love letter? I think I got a love letter once.
Whoops.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was,
I didn't say
Well.
oops because of that. It's because virus and protection just popping in my PC, and it's like, okay, fuck.
oh no. Is it because I mentioned the love letter? Is that
Yeah,
what-
it's like, no, delete.
Tell us about the love letter, mate.
Oh, it's not a bit. It's a young crush thing. So it's one of those when you're not even 10 years old kind of things. It's, the silliness of. I mean, I remember being like 10 years old in class and hearing about a classmate of mine going out on a date. And yeah, I told you earlier that I'm a late bloomer in that, when I'm 10, I've got the brain of a 5-year-old, etc. But even as a 10-year-old listening to these classmates going on about going out on a date, I'm going, what the hell did you even do on a date? You're 10 years old. Where did you go? Did you hang outside McDonald's on your own because you're not allowed to go in without parents' supervision? It was just this weird, I don't know. But yeah, no, I got a love letter once. So
Yeah,
I guess
but now I get your point, and I counterattack. And my counterattack is, in anime doesn't happen when you are 10 years old. It happens when at least you are 15 years old.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
So I get the point you are saying, and it makes sense in your age, but in the anime doesn't make sense most of the time.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But then anime does a lot of stuff that it does for the sake of being cute. And
Yeah.
yeah. We watch, maybe not we, but I feel like a lot of people, myself included sometimes, because it's cute, we watch anime for the fluff sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, the main thing about anime is it's not real. Like, if you wanted more realistic stuff, there's a lot of things you can watch that's not anime. Like, the point is it's animation. It could be kind of hyperbolized. It could be fantastical. It doesn't have to be true to life. Even for the slice of lifey romance things, which are not supernatural per se, they're still over the top, and the animation adds to that.
For sure.
But yeah, I think the love letter thing never really got me too much, because there's a practical side of me. It's like, if you just go up to someone and talk to someone, actually talk through things, you could probably get it all sorted out in half an hour, and then there's no story. Love letters definitely add to a lot more drama, because there's a lot more kind of room for interpretation,
exactly.
which is that's very good for a TV show.
Yeah, but Toradora, even she tried to give the card, and then she just say it out loud. What the feelings she has for the secondary guy, which I don't remember the name, as always.
Kitamura.
Yeah.
God bless Kitamura and his sculpted abdominals.
That's Santa costume.
The worst part is true, yeah. He could be a secondary in Jojo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, he could.
Kitamura and Jojo.
He's even got a personality for it now that you mention it. It's true.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him. Well, like I don't think there are any characters I dislike. Actually, they've all got a personality which is pretty out there, but still grounded a little bit in reality. You know, they're goofy, but they're also, I don't know.
Yeah, you can
As
see
always.
you can see that personality in real people.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
in his case, it's like maybe no. At least when he's acting over the top, when he's acting normal, he's just normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we touched on like one of the main things that drives Toradora's popularity probably is its core cast of 5 characters.
Yes, I would say so. I was wondering what you were going to say because you mentioned it, and you mentioned at the very beginning it's its popularity, and I thought it is popular, isn't it? It's quite a popular series of its kind of more so than a lot of others. And why is that? And you mentioned that, and I go, yeah, it's core character. It's actually characters too. It's like there's a lot of romance, anime, manga, visual novels even, where the characters are relatively flat, and I think the purpose for that is so that you can layer it with your own experiences and your own person. Like the main character is always quite wooden, so that you can put yourself in their shoes all the more easily. But with Toradora, even the main protagonist of Ryuji is still someone who stands. He's not. So this kind of leads into, and I'll shut up at some point, I promise. This kind of leads into why I dislike isekai to an extent, or a lot of isekai. Not good ones, mostly the bad ones, where Sword Art Online being the perfect example, where you've got the main character, what's his name? Kirito? I forget.
Yeah.
Is it that? Kirito's character is non-existent, pretty much. I argue he's non-existent. Maybe other people will argue against me. But Ryuji, by comparison, has personality, has hobbies, whether they be cleaning or otherwise, has problems. He has problems being, looking the way he is, but still being a decent enough dude. He's got, I don't know, he jokes, he laughs, he cries, I don't know, he's human. He cleans.
A lot.
Cleans a lot. And that, I get that cleaning thing a little personally. I look at him like the intro, the opening has him, taking, I don't know what it is, like a pencil or something with like some tissue wrapped around it, and he's scraping the insides of the window frames, and I just sort of look at him like point and go, my man, that's the stuff right there. Deep cleaning. But yeah,
that smile he gets to.
Exactly, that's satisfaction.
He enjoys it, yeah.
Oh yes. See, personality right there.
I mean, he probably has the most flat personality between the characters of Toradora, but he actually has a lot of personality, as you just say.
Exactly, yeah, by comparison, for sure.
Yeah, but Kirito, the personality trait he has is being an edgelord and have 2 swords because reasons.
Yeah.
That's it. There is no more character into it.
2 swords are better than 1. Quick maths.
An interesting thing about how Sword Art Online, which I never thought of before, but Sword Art Online gets all of the love things, like all of the red flags, which Toradora brings up with like not taking infatuation too far and the dangers of that. Yeah. Sword Art Online does. Because like in Toradora, they're like, okay, see what you like with people, like really think over your crushes, all that kind of thing. Sword Art Online, they meet, they get married, or they get a house, they have a baby, all in the space of an episode or something. It's like, wow, yeah, you took this infatuation far.
It's pure fanfic without. Actually, is there any fan fiction written about Sword Art Online? Because the whole purpose of
probably.
No, but the thing is, I am actually, I will put my hand up straight away that I read quite a bit of fan fiction because there are a lot of series. I mean, I used to, I still do, but I read quite a bit of fan fiction, and the purpose of it, or rather what people use fan fiction for, is to explore ideas or plot holes or open-ended stories that already exist and fulfill their fantasy about it. So you like 2 characters in a series, you write a fanfic about them getting together because they never did in the show. There's a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff like that. But with Sword Art Online, you just mentioned how the main character and the secondary character get together, get married, have a life in the space of 1 episode. So with the series very much being like that throughout the rest, what even is there left for fan fiction to explore? So what do people write stories about when it comes to Sword Art Online? Probably more Mary Sue stuff. Probably putting their own self-insert, I guess.
I don't know.
I'm curious now.
Maybe Kirito gets in with the idiot of the pink hair one. You know which guy I'm talking about?
Yes.
Oh, is she the one who forges weapons? Is that her?
No, the guy with the pink hair.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Good point. Yeah, what am I
It's
thinking?
like, this is the
Cool, right.
Fuyoshis are into it, so probably that is actually fan fiction. I'm not gonna search about it because no, thank you.
Because you've already searched for it.
No, just having the idea in my mind, it's enough. Thank you very much.
I bet you even write the stuff, Pabs.
You know, I have fetishes, but I'm not that desperate for it.
Even you
That's
have your limits.
Yeah, I'm with a secondary loser. I mean, can you imagine doing anything
I'm not
with
even a main
Kirito?
character. Reference from Sword Art Online Abridged, by the way.
Yeah.
Is it worth watching the abridged series?
It's quite funny, actually, yeah.
Probably it's better than the original.
Yeah, it's better than the show.
Oh, that reminds me. So there's a YouTuber or YouTube group called Jello Apocalypse, which I quite like, and they do some really good voiceover stuff. They've got a series of their own called Epithet Erased, which I really recommend, and they've also done some. So this is insert series here. So like this is Kingdom Hearts, and they go on a big series of why it's funny, why it's good, why it's.
I know which one you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, they've done a couple of just 1 or 2, maybe 3 abridged episodes of Hamtaro, and they do it as an April Fool's joke.
Oh
like,
god, I have to watch it.
One, isn't it?
they're so funny. They're genuinely so funny. It's you don't need to have watched Hamtaro to enjoy them. That's the beauty of them. You get a lot. You could get a laugh out of them because you did watch it, and obviously they make references to it, and that's what's funny. But just on their own, they stand up on their own really well. I really recommend if neither of you have watched Hamtaro Abridged. There's only 2 on YouTube, I think, but they're good fun. They're silly.
I think they released a third one.
Yeah, they released the 3rd one. I think the first one is only available on their Patreon, and they've got the 2nd one rolling around on YouTube as well.
I never imagined I'd be watching Hamtaro Abridged. So that sounds perfect.
I know, exactly.
One of the shows I watch in Abridged, and I haven't watched the original, is how it's called, the vampire one. It's the most famous Abridged.
Oh, Hellsing.
Hellsing, yeah. I never watched the original series, but I watched the entire Abridged of it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very good. That's actually really good because I've seen maybe 1 or 2 episodes of Hellsing, and I know and I'm kind of scared because of all the different variants as well over the years. So
yeah,
but in that sort of Fate series kind of fashion, in that there's one version of Hellsing, there's the 2nd, the 3rd. I don't know. It kind of scares me, so I'm afraid to go in. But the yeah, I like the Hellsing Abridged series as well because they've got their own running jokes which are funny. They stand up on their own, and that's what's great about them. Agreed.
And there's something
How
else.
did we get here?
How did we get here?
who
Never mind,
cares?
Qays, you got a point, yeah. Let the wheel keep turning.
So do you want to talk? This we can cut out possibly, but do you want to keep talking about Toradora, or do you want to keep talking about anything, and we can go on to the new shows?
Anything you want to highlight of Toradora, or?
I think we've done most of Toradora.
Yeah, I personally think we've covered a decent chunk of it.
Yeah. I think, Ben, you said something about wanted to add something about something you're watching recently.
I'll do that at the end. I've talked enough.
All right.
Pabs, you go.
Pabs, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, go for it.
Have you heard about our Jesus Christ called JoJo's Bizarre Adventures? Because I watched part 1 and part 2, and I'm not even getting in the good part yet, which is starting part 3 from what I hear about, and it's fucking amazing.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? I can't say I've ever heard of that anime. Would you be able to, like...
Yeah,
tell me a little
because
bit
it's
about it.
Are there any short pictures with captions about JoJo's? I've never seen any.
It's not like my own profile picture is a JoJo's reference.
Oh, you mean Jojo's Bizarre Adventure? I know exactly what you're talking about now. Sorry, yeah. Yeah,
You
I
sound,
totally see that.
you sound like you had a stroke saying it.
So tell us your thoughts on Jojo. You were once a Jojo virgin, but now your cherry has been popped. Too much? No? I thought it was
I
fine.
was an expert about JoJo's memes, but now I know the context of the JoJo's memes.
Yes.
But let's go straight ahead. Part 1 is kinda shitty. It's just the prologue to give context to part 3.
Yes.
Pretty much. And the only remarkable moment is like, it was me, Dio. And that was about it.
You really are learning through the memes.
I don't know what you're talking about. I already remember the memes. And part 2, how it's called, because I call them all of them Jojo, because in the series they only call it Jojo, and they only call them by their name the first or the second time. So the first one is Jonathan, the grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
But
Joseph.
Yeah. Joseph, it's my character. I have a need a Joseph in my life. He's idiot, but at the same time he's smart. At the same time, I don't know how he managed to do it. One of my favorite things of him is when every time he's fighting, he just say the quote the other person is about to say.
Yeah. I forgot he did that. Oh my god, Araki, you are a genius, a legend, and a buffoon. I love you so much.
And even if you think he has a plan all the time, and he says he has a plan, probably 99% of the time he just had luck and whatever the fuck he tried to do work.
Yeah, it's... Oh my god. You're reminding me exactly why JoJo's so great.
Or do you remember when he literally smashed a fucking World War II plane against a fucking Spitfire or volcano? Whatever. He just smashed a plane into a volcano.
It was all planned.
It was all planned.
And it failed. And then a flying rock go to nearly the space. And that's how you defeat a 10,000 years monster, basically.
It's
And
just...
with style.
Yes, exactly. Style coming out of the butts. There's style all over the place.
Yeah, that's one thing about JoJo. Style is all over the place.
You basically don't even... Yeah.
It's the poses, it's the colors. I mean, I'm talking about the anime as well. But like,
Yeah.
all of that, it's the quotes. All of that just makes JoJo unique. It's not necessarily about what happens, even though what happens is bizarre. What happens is crazy. But it's about, the style of how it's done.
Now you mentioned the colors. They do this thing like 50 or 60% of the time. They use the colors the thing should have. But in the conversations or in like tense moments, they just starting to keep switching colors of everything.
Yeah.
At the beginning, you saw that and like, this is interesting. You don't like it too much, but you see it's interesting. And there's in a point, like you stop thinking about it and it just blends with the rest of the animation.
It's interesting. You mentioned that, and that's almost... I'm only just thinking about it, but I feel like there are some aspects of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and maybe I'm just really late to the party here, but like you say, the color switches and so on. There are some Lovecraftian aspects to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but just way more on the rainbow spectrum, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I don't know, now you mentioned that. These are things I've forgotten. So what's great about you, Pabs, having watched these fresh, is that you're rekindling, you're firing off the synapses in my brain and telling it, hey, remember when we watched JoJo? Oh yeah! So like I'm reliving these experiences through you telling us about them.
Talking about things, do you remember when Joseph spied on her mother?
Yeah.
And from that we have a meme now.
I think I remember
Nice.
you using that meme before you watching Jojo. I was like, "There's more to it than this, bro." You're like, "Nice." I was like,
on his defense, he didn't know that, and not gonna lie, in his position, I will do the same.
"You're a brave man, mate."
I'm not a brave man. I have priorities. Please don't take this out of context. Well, it's out of context
Anything
even
from
if
Jojo taken out of context.
Yeah.
Jojo related. It's gonna put you in a bad position where you have to explain stuff.
I don't know. Another important things of part 2, the German superior technology. When you clearly see what the guy is doing and they still censor it, it's like, I know the meaning, but it's over 50 years, well, nearly 70 years, 80 years actually, from the end of the World War II. Can't we just, be fine to see that even we know how bad the thing was?
It remind me if the first part of JoJo is the sort of the focus is the mask, which turns Dio into a vampire.
Yeah.
And then the second part is
The mask again.
Exactly the origins of the mask, and then there's like it's apparently some sort of, and correct me if I'm wrong, the mask is some sort of ancient Aztec artifact that belonged to these superpowered individuals who we'll meet later on. And what is the significance of the German army? Are they trying to revitalize the Third Reich by exploring this sort of stuff?
No. They just want a super weapon for the war because when the things happens, the war didn't start up yet. So when Jojo goes flying in the last episodes, it was in 1939, like a few months before the war.
Perfect. That makes a lot of sense. Perfect.
And the only things they told you is they conquer Austria and Czechoslovakia, which technically doesn't count from Second World War. That was like the prelude of the war.
Yeah, that was 38, I think.
So,
oh wow! Didn't realize.
They told you that, and it makes sense. The Germans were in Brazil. Is the country they were when they found out the Santana. It was a Latin American country. I think it's Brazil, but I'm not 100% sure about it.
Brazil. Yeah.
You going to Brazil? Sorry, another meme. I cannot shut up if I have a meme in my mind. It makes sense because they have a lot of researchers in different countries, and one of the World War II memes is all the Germans when they were getting defeated by the Allies, they went to Argentina. So there's a lot of Germans or original Germans in Argentina from the Second World War. So I guess that is like the connection.
Yeah, okay, I see it.
And the best character, which at the beginning I didn't like it, but now Speedwagon is my favorite character, my second favorite character in part 2.
Came around.
We did it, guys. We did it. Oh, it's like, I don't know.
I like more Joseph, but the Speedwagon is nearly there.
Oh my god, this feels like, successful lunar landing and everyone at Houston just jumping up and down saying, we did it, guys. I'm so glad you got there, Pabs. I knew you could do it. I knew you had the potential to like Speedwagon.
Not gonna lie, one of the best part of him is the name Speedwagon. It's just a fucking cool name.
Yeah, cool name.
His full name too.
Is it a reference for a band or something like that? Because I know there's a lot of
REO Speedwagon. It's just a band.
Okay, fair enough. There you have it.
I don't know why they're called that, but there's some more research.
It doesn't need to be a reason. That's again one of the best parts of JoJo is that
one of the bad guys, it was called literally AC/DC. It's like the rest of the guys, okay, I know it's a reference for a band, but it kinda blends with all the names you are sharing with me.
Oh yeah,
but
because Qays is an Aztec name for sure.
Yeah, but this guy is like, okay, I just called AC/DC. I'm 10,000 years old. Fuck it.
I mean, that's how AC/DC got the idea for their band name.
Oh,
It's the other way
sure.
around.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? The original one is the character, not the band.
This is where things like part 4 and 5, I suppose, are my favorite, in that the musical references become much more ingrained in the theme of the character as well. I mean, Killer Queen is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
You get, and I think there's a couple of YouTube videos which are great where they take the introductions of said characters from within the show, and then they overlay the music of that band or of that song. So someone on YouTube has put together the first appearance of Killer Queen and actually had Killer Queen playing in the background, and it's just chef's kiss.
You gotta link me up to that.
I don't need to do it, man. You can just go. I mean, I'm not saying do your own work or anything like that.
It's like, no, mate.
No, I don't need to do it. It's there is my point. It's in plain sight. Just as I'll find a link, but you find it before I do.
All right. I know who likes me. All right. I'll definitely look it up.
I've been burned before, that's all. It's like, oh, man, you link. And I say, okay, cool. Let me just, nope, never mind. I found it. Whatever, man.
Yeah, I feel like I found out a lot of new music through part 3 and part 4. So
yeah,
got that.
Sure.
Definitely, even if you're not interested in anime, do you want to know bands you didn't know before? Go ahead and watch Jojo.
Oh, I think we talked about this before. I can't tell if we talked about it in this podcast or in one of the separate sessions and whatnot. But alone, just the fact that yes, Roundabout, because of the closing theme, I am so pleased, or at least I hope it's the case, that closing theme has been the beginnings of younger people's first forays into the world of prog rock, because it's just like, it's so underrated. And I mean, that's not even, I think Roundabout is considered one of Yes's very popular songs, but from, I think it was the beginnings of their where not their career declined, but their albums were seen as less good as their previous work. I could be wrong. So it's the very beginning. It's like people could go, oh, this is cool, and then they get taken into some Hawkwind space world where they're listening to 30-minute songs and just going, whoa, what is this world I've entered? I don't know. The power of Jojo, just reaching hands out and touching all the possible hearts it ever can in different ways. And yeah.
One last thing I will mention about Jojo. I mentioned already my first and my second favorite character, which is Jonathan and Joseph and Speedwagon. But my third one is a little controversial, but as I said, I respect him as Joseph does, but I don't agree with what he thinks is Strongheim. Strongheim is called the German guy.
The German guy, yeah.
Which literally was in his hands the end of the world. He provoked the main villain to become superpower. And it's just, I don't know, just he's I think he's patriotic, but he is not Nazi. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I don't know if I agree.
He does the.
I don't remember him well enough.
He does the thingy of the hand, but because at that time, if you were part of the military, it was like just a regular salute of the military.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Okay.
So, because that happened in the Second World War, there were a lot of people who were fighting for the Reich, not because they were fighting for the Nazi party, they were fighting for Germany.
Yes, yeah.
So I think he is more in that part. Like, he's patriotic, but he's not Nazi.
Yeah. He's a soldier for his country, but not a Nazi empathizer or anything like that.
I think at least that,
At least that. Okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Well, at least that is the vibes during the show.
Ooh, this episode's a bit controversial.
I need to highlight, because if you don't say it, you get tagged as a Nazi. I don't agree with the ideas. I just saying about this character. I think he is not, because of the contest. So
No,
I disagree with any extremist ideology. So now I say this, and they are gonna take out of the contest anyway.
Full disclaimer,
gonna get
Pabs is not a Nazi sympathizer.
And I will never be.
And he will never be.
Talking about childhood, which is a totally different topic, Shaman King.
Yes.
What do you think about the first and second episode if you watch both of them?
Qays, I think you should start us off with this.
So I don't know if you can see my profile picture.
I think, I think everyone can see your
But
profile
yeah,
picture.
Shaman King is probably one of my favorite shows since my childhood. And I would say it still is, but I haven't been pleased with the new Shaman King. I mean, I always really, really liked the show, of course, and I'm very excited for it coming out, but I don't think it's just looking through nostalgia, because I rewatched it not too long ago as well, and it still held up, and I really, really enjoyed it. But this new show has cut a few corners with regards to the story elements, and some of the corners it cut were some of the most emotionally impactful, like, things that I really liked about the show. And this has only been 2 episodes. I won't go into too much of the details, but in the first episode, they cut out one kind of like backstory by kind of not cutting it out, but reducing the amount of time spent to it, because what would have been 2 episodes was turned into 1 episode, where you'd have 1 episode with a build-up and then 1 episode with a payoff. But here they just kind of did the payoff and then flashbacked to the build-up with half time for each, which, when you hear it about it that way, just clearly just doesn't work. It didn't work. And for the second episode, what was like, I think 2 episodes, maybe 3, but I think it was around 2 episodes of kind of a series of clashes with an enemy, a new enemy, where you'd have the main character repeatedly losing, and in a really like bad way, where like he would be hospitalized. And it was like, I remember watching it as a kid, I was like, wow, I've never seen a TV show where someone gets beat up that badly.
Yeah, I know, that's exactly, that's a really good point.
And here it completely changed. It was it was anticlimactic, really. There was nothing.
Did you ever read the full manga?
No, I never did.
Okay, so see, now so I've not seen the second episode of Shaman King, the new series, the new rendition of it yet, but from what I've seen of the first, and even the art style, it to me feels like, because the manga is finished now, the first anime adaptation was I think it was produced in conjunction with the still ongoing manga at the time, so that's why there's a bit of a different ending, etc. But anyway, so the new anime version is produced after the manga is finished, and the way the manga went, and I want to do an exploration on this in a later, I don't know, podcast, or maybe I'll try and record my own thing, because it's something close to my heart. But anyway, the Shaman King manga begins a lot more emotionally invested than when it ends. So the second half of the manga itself, the art style changes quite a bit. It's a lot flashier, and there's a lot less emotional impact. And so when it comes to the new anime adaptation, I don't think it's necessarily, I wouldn't say it's necessarily 100% the fault of the anime studio. I think it actually is quite close to the concluded vision of the manga, to be honest. And I think that's a bad thing personally, because I feel like Shaman King, the reason why the manga ended the way it did was it kind of lost its way a little bit. And so I'm not surprised when you told me what you did a couple of days ago, and as you've just told us right now, I'm not surprised that it's gotten that way. So I might enjoy the second episode a little bit more than you, Qays, in that I'm expecting it to go that way, but I'm also going to probably be sad that it's not the anime adaptation I think a lot of us were hoping for, personally.
Yeah.
Having said that, I recommend reading the manga so you know exactly what I'm talking about, or finding some scans online. Just it'll give you context, and I hope maybe be the balm for those wounds that have not yet healed.
Yeah, I probably should read the manga. And even if like that doesn't do everything for me, still got the previous anime adaptation, which maybe it'll be a case. Watch the first 20 episodes of the original anime, if I ever want to rewatch it at least, and then carry on with the this new adaptation, which does have better graphics and everything.
Graphics.
Oh yeah,
Animation.
it's really polished. It's really polished.
It's got that going for it at least.
What's your take, Pabs?
In my case, I'm more chill out about it because I know I watched it when I was younger. I don't know how many episodes, but I don't remember much about it. And the only thing I remember is the mini trauma I had of, I think we mentioned it in one of the last episodes of the podcast, when the main guy is taking out the soul by another guy. We already talked about this, so for me it's just a new brand anime, which I know the characters, but I don't remember the history, so
Yeah.
I don't have any complaints so far. It's gonna be a little controversial what they're gonna say. It's like, so far it looks like a generic shonen.
This is breaking my heart.
Oh.
This is why it breaks my heart.
Don't get me wrong, I like it, but it feels like a generic shonen so far.
I know, it's because it's this version, which I can't disagree with you, because this version is a generic shonen and it's terrible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. For this version.
And
Oh, you know, I've just realised. No, actually, Pabs, go ahead. I'll come
it's
back to
fine.
this later.
And one thing you mentioned, I think you mentioned on one of the last episode, Qays, it's you like the funky proportions of the characters.
Yes.
Oh, it was you,
Yeah.
Ben. I don't remember. One of you two mentioned it, but
It's probably case, but I 100% agree.
No, I think it might have been you, Ben. It's something I like, but I don't think I would have gone out and
But
to mention.
I know for sure one of you two mentioned it.
Yeah.
Uh, in my case, I don't mind, but in the second episode, this guy who wears golden stuff for some reason. What the fuck happened with his hair? You can
His hair.
you can. It's a fucking knife. You can cut steel with that hair.
That is true. Ren's hair is. I mean, that's always been a constant of his hair, just random,
Yeah,
very pointy.
and it's really easy to fix it and keep it the same style. It's just do the pointing thing a little bit smaller. That's it.
No, that's actually one of the things I like about it, actually.
It just took me off so hard from that scene. Like, I gotta stop watching that part of him, and I'm not paying attention on the fight. Which the fighting was kinda lame as well.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, my Chinese my Chinese soul thing is less powerful, but because I can do the 100% how it's called 100%
Integration.
yeah. I can defeat you because you only can do 10%, and our main character is like, power of friendship, and he defeats him.
Yeah, but that's exactly why. Oh, I don't know. So, yeah.
Originally, so in the other version, he loses twice and gets hospitalized by this, instead of power of friendship win in that episode.
Yeah,
and
it's not quite as simple.
I think Qays, I'm gonna take your point and I just or read the manga as Ben said, or watch the original one, because right now I don't want to be harsh on it because it's part of my childhood as well, but so far it's a 5.
I highly recommend reading the manga. At the very least, the first 10 volumes. And Qays can, I think, agree with me here, because I think I shared some artwork with you, Qays, that I want to have up on my wall. The artwork in the manga alone, it's just so it's kind of graffiti-esque. There's a lot of playing with depth and thickness of lines, and they do it quite well in the first anime adaptation, actually, because I rewatched some clips and I thought, oh, they've got it nice and big and stretchy and huge and stuff. And there's a little bit of that in this most recent anime adaptation, which again kind of fits in with the later manga that Hiroyuki Takei put out. In that it's a little bit more polished and refined, but I loved it for its cartooniness. So I don't know. If you want the best Shaman King experience, in my opinion, is the first 10 volumes of the manga, purely because as well, and this is what I wanted to come back to. I think the reason why Shaman King touched quite a few of us when we were younger was because it has this weird balance where it's quite goofy in a lot of places. You talk about Len's hair, you talk about Ryu as a character existing, just with this suit and wooden sword and a massive pompadour and everything, and it's almost One Piece in nature, in that, just kind of outlandish, just sort of character personalities and designs. Even Yo with his big clunky bathroom slippers, the wooden soles and everything, and we all love that stuff. We eat it up. But on the other end of the spectrum, as Qays has also pointed out, is that people get hospitalized. They're playing with souls and spirits, and death is a very regular part of the series. Like, characters get stronger the closer they are to death because of how it takes them closer to the spirit world and how they're better able to. I think that's what actually happened in the original story that they didn't touch upon in this new second episode. The only reason Yo is able to Hyoigatai integrate with Amida Maru better later on to be able to defeat Len is because he's had those near-death experiences in the past. So you've got that really goofy, stylized side of it, and then you've got this really dark, people dying. I think one character later on visits hell and has his sight taken away from him, but he comes back and he's all the more powerful for it. So it's just this weird balancing of funny and goddamn, this is some serious stuff. That's what does it for me for Shaman King, and I think subconsciously for a lot of other people. Yeah,
and I think this new adaptation has got good animation, but it's missed everything that you just mentioned.
It's missed, I think it has.
Yeah, I feel like I'm watching it out of duty because I like the old one, and so it's like I can't not watch it if the previous one was my favorite kind of anime of all time. So I have to kind of watch it to its conclusion. But for Pabs, like, honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, just watch.
I will keep watching it. Yes, yes. So far, I don't get bored. Right now, it's in a borderline. Like, okay, it's only 2 episodes. I want to like it, so I gonna give it 4 or 5 more episodes, and if this keeps going lame, I gonna drop it, and if it improves, it's like, okay, let's go for it.
But that's the thing, like, if you drop this, I doubt you'd want to watch the other versions. So if you want to give something a chance, watch the good version, if you know what I mean.
Probably I will read the manga or watch the original, so...
Yeah, it's Pabs, you're actually in an interesting spot in that you're someone who's watched it a little bit in your youth, but you also have the ability to watch it quite objectively from this point onwards, whereas there are a lot of people who've never seen the series, a lot of younger newcomers to anime who I would tell, oh yeah, give the new Shaman King anime a shout, see if you like it or not, because they could go in clear and come up with their own conclusions. And you have a little bit of that, but you also have a little bit of knowing what it was like before. So you're actually in a really interesting spot to have like your own takes on the series. Because that's it. If any new person said, shall I give Shaman King a try, the new one, I'd go, yeah, go for it. Whilst also, keeping a lid on my own opinions on the matter. Because if someone were to ask me properly, oh, should I give Shaman King a go? I could go on the rants that I've just given you a little bit of a glimpse of today. I could say, well, here's what I really think. And then they'd run away.
Well, so far, I will not recommend the new one because it starts slow and, as I said before, lame.
Oh, it started slow?
For me, it's a very slow start.
Yeah, it's slow to get any emotional kind of resonance.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I still haven't got anything that I liked about the previous Shaman King. I got in the first episode from the last one. I haven't had anything that I liked about this new one.
Because for me, the only attachment I have with the character is like, oh, wow, I remember them. I clap because I remember my childhood. That's it so far.
Yeah. Like, if I'm recommending a show, I want to recommend think people like, and I really, really like Shaman. I really would like people to like it as well because it's good. But if you recommend the new version, maybe I mean I just don't think it's very good. So I think most people will not like it. And even if I say, "Oh, go watch the alternative one," only about 5% or 10% people will actually go and watch an alternative version of something that they already don't like.
It's a hard
You know?
sell.
And so I would never recommend watching this first.
Plus, a lot of people are not very kind to watch all animation style.
Yeah.
I mean, Shaman King is not at all, but in comparison with the new one, the animation, you can notice it has its years behind it.
Most certainly.
And
I guess sounds stupid, but it's I suppose a very arbitrary kind of thing. But one problem I have with any adaptation, this includes the old and the new anime adaptation of Shaman King, is that they automatically made Yo look more handsome than he was when I first encountered him in the manga. In that, I don't know, it's just something about his eyes. He's got this sort of, hi, I'm Yo Asakura. I'm laid back and chill, but at the same time, I'm too cool for school. Whereas, he's got...
and I got
always been Yo, mate.
And I got the school cheerless, basically.
Yeah, no, see, that's the point. Exactly that. He's not like in the comic, in the manga, not necessarily. Like, as in the anime adaptation, both ones. And this is not a criticism. Yeah. It's an observation again of why I personally enjoy Shaman King. Like in the first episode, they say the reason why Yo Asakura looks so spaced out all the time is because he's emptying his mind so that he's better able to commune with the spirits, and that's true. But in the manga, so like in the anime, he's got his half-lidded eyes, but there's a sort of a smolder to them, if you will. And whereas in the manga, and maybe I'll get my volume 1 down and I'll take some snapshots. In the manga, he looks a lot more actually dumb and dimmer. As in, he looks actually vacant. Like the idea of him with his, this is it. So we all think Yo is cool. I think he's cool. Qays thinks he's cool. We all think he's cool because he's got, like, again, the sandals, the headphones, the open shirt. It's a cool aesthetic. But in the manga, to me, those are symbols of being cool. But they're more symbols of the fact that he just forgot to button his shirt up because he's just a space case, and the fact that he's wearing because I can't be bothered to find my actual shoes.
It's a little bit windy here. I wonder why.
Exactly, genuinely, and so
yeah.
I feel like it's an observation, not a criticism. It's oh my god, I could write so many essays about Shaman King. I don't remember anything else about any other anime. No names, nothing. But Shaman King, I could write home forever about.
This thing happens in a lot of shonen of like the main character use really wacky clothing.
Yeah. They tweak things.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives personality to the character, of course, but in real life, like, nobody's gonna wear that unironically or without being cosplaying, you know? Can you imagine in a British school a guy wearing his clothes without getting kicked out the first day?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, because even other characters in Shaman King as well, there's like Manta or Morty is talking to his classmates, and one of them's this big dude with his shirt open. It's I don't know, some strange.
Oh yeah, remember him?
Yeah.
Man, nobody wants to see that. Put it away.
I've used hairy chest.
Yeah,
he's got some stylish clothes too.
Oh my god, Ryu. We love Ryu. I'm keen to see how his hair keeps changing throughout the series.
Yeah. So yeah, I think what we can probably agree on, and as much as it like really kind of pains me to say, this new Shaman King adaptation is probably worst anime 2021 so far for me. The disparity of my favorite and least favorite shows, but I guess love and hate are two sides of the same coin. Anyway, thank you for listening, and that's all from us for today. There was me, Qays, and my co-hosts Ben and Pabs, talking about Toradora, love, and disappointment in Shaman King, and Jojo's among many other things. So